So let's talk about open source. And you're probably thinking, Frank, you work at Red Hat, man. Obviously you're into open source. And I myself came to open source in kind of a roundabout kind of way, right? I started my career, not being a fan of open source. I joined Microsoft for a number of times, and I worked for Microsoft under Steve Ballmer, who was definitely not a fan of open source, and under Satya Nadella, who is more of a fan of open source. And now I find myself kind of in a company that is known for commercializing open source. I have really become a true believer in this, in that, you get a certain level of transparency with open source. There's an inherent collaboration. It's kind of early here in DC. Then now all of that kind of the transparency, the collaboration leads to a sense of trust. That sense of trust also leads to innovation, which innovation in itself leads to a lot of flexibility. And also, you can't understate the ability to educate this, right? When I started my career doing Visual Basic 3 development, right? There was not a lot of underlying exploration of the underlying engine of how that was built. But now you can literally step into, even in .NET, you can step into the actual libraries, the actual DLLs that Microsoft made. I think that has an enormous for not just debugging things, but just education, just understanding how these things are put together at the lowest levels. And I think that open source just implicitly means you get a community with it, right? It's a bunch of humans, listening here, it's a bots, working together. And because of the nature of the internet, this could be a global type of event. We also have the ability to think about the shared accountability, right? Because we are building systems that will impact our livelihoods, our physical safety, arguably our psychological safety too. There needs to be some kind of